dark and powerful story about a giant alien beast that rises from the dead ocean and destroys the final cities of Earth. Humanity faces fear, fire, betrayal, and hopeless war while one broken survivor searches for the truth behind the monster and the hidden secret of the stars. This story is filled with emotion, terror, sacrifice, and the final battle for the future of mankind. The storm began without warning. The sea turned black under a dead sky. Waves crashed against the broken coast, while every screen across the world flashed the same message. Unknown life form detected. People thought it was another false alarm. Earth had survived countless disasters. Wars had burned nations. Viruses had emptied cities. Machines had replaced workers, and hunger had turned millions into ghosts. Humanity believed nothing worse could come. Humanity was wrong. The first city to fall was Jakarta. Witnesses reported an enormous shape rising from the ocean during the night. The creature stood taller than the tallest tower. It moved through the sea like a living mountain. Every step created waves that swallowed ships and drowned entire neighborhoods. Survivors described glowing eyes and black skin covered in scars. The creature looked ancient. It looked angry. It looked alive in a way that terrified every human who saw it. The military attacked immediately. Fighter jets screamed through the clouds. Missiles exploded against the creature like fireworks. None of it mattered. The giant roared. The sound shattered windows across the city. Thousands collapsed, bleeding from their ears. Buildings cracked apart. Bridges folded into the sea. Then the monster swung one massive arm across the skyline. Jakarta vanished in flames. News spread across the world within minutes. Governments denied the scale of destruction at first. They called it a terrorist attack. They blamed experimental weapons. They lied because the truth was too terrible. Then satellites captured clear images. The entire world saw the giant. Panic exploded across every nation. People abandoned cities. Roads filled with endless traffic. Families fought for fuel, food, and shelter. Religious leaders claimed the end of days had arrived. Criminal gangs looted abandoned stores. Soldiers deserted their posts to protect loved ones. Human civilization began to collapse before the alien giant reached the next shore. In New York, a former war journalist named Ethan Cole watched the footage from inside a ruined apartment. Rain hammered the broken windows while emergency sirens screamed across the streets below. Ethan had spent years reporting death from distant battlefields. He thought nothing could shock him anymore. Then he saw the giant crush a warship with one hand. The ocean around the creature boiled with fire and blood. Helicopters circled like insects around a god. Ethan felt fear for the first time in many years. His younger sister, Maya, entered the room carrying a radio. "The government is evacuating the eastern coast," she said. Ethan looked toward the dark skyline. Too late. The radio crackled with terrified voices. The creature was moving west. Nobody knew why. Nobody knew where it came from. Scientists argued endlessly across emergency broadcasts. Some believed the giant had lived beneath the ocean for millions of years. Others claimed it was not from Earth at all. One message repeated through every report: do not engage the creature directly. Human weapons were useless. 3 days later, London burned. The alien giant crossed the Atlantic Ocean faster than any ship. Entire naval fleets vanished trying to stop it. Submarines fired nuclear torpedoes beneath the waves. The explosions lit the sea like artificial suns. The creature survived without injury. When it reached London, thousands were still trapped inside the city. People ran through smoke and broken glass while the giant walked across the River Thames. Every footstep destroyed streets beneath the water. Big Ben collapsed into flames. The giant roared again. Air itself seemed to break. Ethan watched live footage from an underground shelter in Boston. Maya sat beside him, silently crying. The world was ending one city at a time. A scientist appeared on screen moments before the broadcast ended. Her name was Dr. Elena Voss. She claimed humanity had awakened the creature by accident. Deep beneath Antarctica, she said researchers had discovered an ancient signal buried inside the ice. The signal came from space. When scientists activated it, strange energy pulses spread across the oceans. Weeks later, the giant emerged. Before Elena could explain further, the screen went black. Government forces arrested her during the broadcast. Or, so they claimed. That night, Boston lost power. The streets became rivers of panic. Ethan and Maya packed what little they had left into an old truck. They planned to head inland toward abandoned military bunkers rumored to be safe. As they drove through the chaos, Ethan noticed something strange. Birds were flying west. Animals were fleeing before the giant arrived. Nature itself feared the creature. Hours later, emergency channels erupted with another warning. The giant had reached the eastern coast. Boston had less than 30 minutes. Traffic locked every highway. People screamed from stalled vehicles. Fires spread across gas stations. Police abandoned checkpoints. Then the sea rose. A massive wall of water crashed into the harbor. Ships slammed against skyscrapers. The giant emerged through the storm. It towered above the city like a nightmare carved from darkness. Its eyes glowed with deep blue light. Scars covered its body like ancient wounds. For one terrible moment, the creature looked directly at Ethan. He felt frozen, not by fear alone. Something else. The giant seemed aware. Then destruction began. Buildings exploded beneath its fists. Helicopters spun from the sky in flames. Tanks fired desperately from flooded streets. Maya screamed as the truck overturned from the shockwaves. Ethan dragged her through rising water while debris rained around them. The roar of the giant drowned every human sound. They escaped into a subway tunnel moments before a collapsing tower buried the street behind them. Darkness swallowed the tunnel. People cried around them. Children called for missing parents. Some prayed. Others simply stared into nothing. Hours passed. When Ethan finally climbed back to the surface, Boston no longer existed. Smoke covered the horizon. The giant was gone. Only ruins remained. Millions were dead. The world governments gathered soon after inside a hidden military base beneath the mountains of Switzerland. Leaders from every surviving nation attended. For the first time in history, humanity united against a common enemy. Their solution was Project Nightfall. The plan involved every remaining nuclear weapon on Earth. Scientists calculated the creature path using satellite images. The giant appeared to move toward major population centers deliberately. Nobody understood why. Project Nightfall would lure the giant into a trap near the ruins of Moscow. Hundreds of warheads would detonate simultaneously. If that failed, humanity had no further options. Ethan learned about the operation through underground military channels. Years as a journalist had left him with dangerous connections. Maya begged him to stay hidden. He refused. Someone needed to witness the truth. Together, they traveled across ruined Europe toward the military zone. The journey revealed horrors beyond imagination. Entire towns stood empty, bodies lined abandoned roads. Refugees wandered through forests, carrying everything they owned. The sky remained permanently gray, ash fell like snow. At night, distant roars echoed across the continent. Every sound reminded humanity of its helplessness. Near Poland, Ethan encountered a dying soldier beside a destroyed convoy. The man grabbed Ethan's arm with bloody fingers. "It is not killing randomly," he whispered. "What do you mean?" Ethan asked. The soldier coughed blood. "It searches for something." Before Ethan could ask more, the soldier died. Those words haunted him. The giant was not acting like an animal. It had purpose. Days later, Ethan and Maya reached the outskirts of Moscow. The city had become a fortress. Thousands of troops prepared for the final battle. Missile launchers lined frozen streets. Fighter aircraft filled the sky. General Marcus Kane led Project Nightfall. He addressed the world through a final broadcast. "Tonight, humanity stands together. Tonight, we end the nightmare." Millions watched from shelters and ruins across the globe. Then the giant arrived. The ground trembled beneath every step. Searchlights illuminated its massive form through falling snow. For a moment, silence covered the battlefield. Then every weapon on Earth opened fire. Missiles screamed through the darkness. Artillery shattered the frozen ground. Nuclear warheads launched toward the creature from hidden silos. The giant roared and charged directly into the attack. Explosions consumed the horizon. The sky became white fire. Shockwaves flattened entire districts. Ethan and Maya hid inside a concrete bunker while the earth shook violently. Then silence returned. Hours passed. Military commanders cautiously surveyed the destruction. Nothing could survive such power. Then something moved inside the smoke. The giant emerged burning, but alive. Its skin glowed with cracks of blue energy. Entire sections of flesh hung torn from its body. Yet it still walked. Panic spread through military ranks. The impossible had happened. Humanity had failed. The giant unleashed a roar unlike any before. Blue light erupted across the battlefield. Every electronic system died instantly. Aircraft fell from the sky. Missile controls shut down. Communication networks vanished. Modern civilization ended in one pulse. Then the giant destroyed Moscow. Ethan and Maya escaped through underground tunnels while the city collapsed above them. During the chaos, they encountered Dr. Elena Voss hidden inside a secret research facility. She looked exhausted and terrified. "You should be dead," Ethan said. "The government tried to silence me," Elena replied. They knew the truth. She revealed files stolen from Antarctic laboratories. The alien giant was not a creature. It was a weapon. Thousands of years earlier, an advanced alien civilization visited Earth. They discovered primitive humans and judged them.